All right, so hi, my loves. It's Ankara here, and today we're gathered here to talk about Jeffree Star and what seems to me to be the beginning of his downfall. I got the idea to make this video especially yesterday when I watched James Charles's video on what was it called? Um, the biggest collaboration in the YouTube beauty community or something like that, which featured himself, Manny MUA, what's his face, Nikita Dragoon, Patrick Star, Nikki Tutorials, and some other people. So after watching that video, I was like, oh my god, wow, like they're really doing this, right? And the reason why I had like that reaction was because I feel like for the past 4 years, Jeffree Star has been a key figure, like a key central figure in the beauty guru industry, whatever you want to call it, game, right? So to like have this video being made and like he is not in it, I was kind of like, I was really shocked, especially because Manny MUA was like in it. And yeah. And I think when the whole Dramageddon one was going on, James and Jeffree were friends. So I was like, ooh, okay, so some stuff must have gone down behind the scenes for James and Manny MUA to be now very, very close. And also Nikita Dragon there as well, right? So if you don't remember, I feel like if you don't remember, Dramageddon 1 was all about like a group of people. So it was like Manny MUA, Laura Lee, so Manny, Laura, what's his face, Nikita Dragoon, and this guy, I don't remember his name, right, Gabriel Zamora. They were at a party or something like that, and then somebody tweeted something that was supposed to shade Jeffree Star, right? And then they got so much backlash from it because the tweet kind of like came off as like, a bit like, bullying or whatever. And then last year there was like the Dramageddon 2, which was basically Tati calling out James for being an alleged predator, and then Jeffree Star inserting himself into the drama. Nobody asked him anything. Nobody put a mic to his, to his face and asked him, Jeffree, what do you think about this drama? Jeffree Star just inserted himself into the drama and claimed that he had proof that showed that James was an alleged, danger to society. So everybody kind of like forgot about it, and then or like, I mean, obviously James didn't, and those involved didn't, but the public kind of like forgot about it. And then Jeffree went on to do this kind of like podcast interview thing where he was asked about it, about whether or not he thought James was like a danger to society, and he kind of like indirectly doubled down on it by saying that like he was shown some stuff that made him believe that James was, and then he was like, oh yeah, like I can show that to you. But then when it actually came to showing it to the person, Jeffree was like, oh yeah, actually I can't. Which is just like, to me, like so wild. So this actually brings me to the point of why I think this is the beginning of the end for Jeffree Star. And basically the bottom line of all of this is that Jeffree Star is really he is his own worst enemy, okay? He is absolutely his own worst enemy. And I say this because when you look throughout the history of like Jeffree's friendships in the beauty guru scene, he has like this pattern, and it doesn't only touch on the beauty influencer scene, it also touches onto the music scene, and it explains the drama that he's going through currently with the whole Davi vanity situation. So I kind of like thought back, and I was like, okay, like who did Jeffree Star really emerge onto the beauty scene with? So he emerged onto the beauty scene. I have some notes here because there's just like so much, so I have to like write things down. But anyway, so he emerged onto the beauty scene with Miss Kat Von D. Remember when Kat Von D had that really good foundation that covered things up, tattoos and everything. So Kat Von D herself got her start in the tattooing business. I remember when it was like on LA Ink or Miami Ink or one of these VH1 reality TV shows as a tattoo artist, and I guess he and Jeffree Star became friends that way. Kat Von D launched her beauty brand, and then I guess he was really really close with Jeffree Star, and then later on Jeffree Star also launched her beauty brand. And then somewhere along the road, I'm not really too sure of what happened, and to be honest, I don't care enough to like research what exactly happened. But somewhere along the road, Jeffree and Kat Von D fell out and became like enemies, you know? And I think this was really, really good for Jeffree because when you think about it, in the beauty scene, Kat Von D was already an established brand, and by Jeffree associating himself with Kat Von D's brand, he managed to like tap into Kat Von D's like customer base, and then when Jeffree Star was like really ready to like take off, he just eliminated Kat Von D, right? And we're gonna see a pattern of this in in the history of Jeffree Star, like this is just how he rolls, okay? And then so in the beginning was like Kat Von D and Jeffree Star who were like the central, social media beauty influencers. I mean, there were other people as well, but especially those who are like trying to like push out your own products, right? And then Jeffree Star befriended Nikki Tutorials, Manny, Nikita Dragoon, Laura Lee, all of them girls, right? So they then became like the it girls of the beauty guru thing, right? But then I think Jeffree and Nikki had some drama, and that was that. But Nikki is a lucky girl because she's not from the States, she's from Holland, so she kind of like shields herself from like, not that, but like I mean her being away from like LA and the girls kind of like shields her a lot from like this drama, and like Nikki's not a dramatic person. So even then we still don't even know exactly what happened, or at least I haven't cared to like figure out exactly what happened there, right? And then obviously we know what happened with Manny, Nikita, and Laura, right? We know what happened there, right? So Jeffree, like they all grew their audiences together, and then through what happened, Jeffree managed to kind of like eliminate all of them while he still grew, right? And then after that whole drama with those girls, Jeffree and James's relationship got super close. I mean, I think they were close when James first like blew up. Not close, but like they were acquainted. But then after drama getting one, we saw Jeffree, Tati, and what's his face, James, like everywhere together, right? They were like the three musketeers, right, for about a year, and then we all know what happened with drama getting two, which to be honest was super unfortunate. So then it was supposed to be just Jeffree and Tati, but something happened between Jeffree and Tati, and now Tati is like losing subscribers or whatever. Jeffree gained subscribers, and now what's his face? James is like recovering, right? But my point in bringing all of this up is to basically just like show that Jeffree Star has a tactic. He has a pattern. I'm not sure if he's noticed this himself or if he hasn't noticed it. But basically he befriends somebody who's like up and coming or already established, right? And then he taps into your audience or your market. And then when he wants to go further, he eliminates them through some kind of like drama. But the way he eliminates them is such as like it's so brilliant because he does that by like antagonizing them, right? By basically he creates like some type of like drama that makes the public see that person as a bad person. So whatever personal issues that Jeffree has with this person is no longer between Jeffree and James or whatever. Suddenly James is a what did he say? It's a danger to the public. So Jeffree makes us afraid of that person as well. So like rather than it just being like James and Jeffree have their whatever, it's literally like the whole public against that one person. And it works for Jeffree Star because that just means like people won't be spending their money with that person anymore, and now they have more money to spend on Jeffree Star. To be honest, I don't think he like sat down and like planned this out and like like I don't think he sat down to like plan this out and like executed it. But this is just the pattern that I've noticed with Jeffree Star. And to be honest, this is also the exact same reason why his downfall is beginning. Because when you look at the whole like Davi Vanity situation, if you don't know, so Davi Vanity is he was, I guess, one of the founders of Blood on the Dance Floor. This is such a throwback moment because they were one of my first, like my favorite bands when I was into the whole like emo scene music thing when I was like a teenager. Sorry. But anyway, so he was friends with Darby Vanity. They performed together, and then one fateful evening, Jeffree Star posted a tweet saying that Darby Vanity was a predator. He is disgusting. Blah 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 blah. Right. And then later on, Jeffree went back and was like, "Oh yeah, actually, no. Darby's my brother. Like we're bros. We're good." Like what? So obviously people are like, wait, Jeffree, weren't you just saying that like this guy is like, like messed up and so weird and gross and whatever, and now he's like your brother? And there are like theories floating around that basically that Jeffree did indeed see what he said he saw in the first tweet, but then he needed something from Davy Vanity, so he kind of like just went back on his word and try to like erase, like undo what that first tweet did. And I think he even, like, some people said he even claimed at some point that like that first tweet was fake, blah 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 blah. So yeah, this ultimately is the downfall of Jeffree Star, because throughout the years, at least what I've noticed is that like none of his public relationships have been actually like genuine, and it's all kind of like based on it's very very transactional, based on like what he can get out of people. This also means that like a lot of the drama that we see with Jeffree Star is like kind of like fabricated. Maybe deep down Jeffree Star is like, maybe deep down like he wants justice to happen for people or whatever, but ultimately he doesn't want justice to happen for people if that justice comes between him getting something, right? Like with the whole like Davi Vanity situation. So you have a situation where you have like this person like Jeffree Star who has said so many things all like over the years, and they just seem to like contradict each other, because it's like whenever Jeffree needs something to go his way, he's very quick to change up his opinion. And I think this is ultimately the what is what is gonna be the end for him, because before like people just asked him to like take accountability for his own like actions. And the funny thing is that, like, these controversies that are happening now, they don't involve him directly. That's the funny thing, they don't involve him directly, but they're sticking because they're highlighting a personal flaw in him, which is his inability to, for one, be consistent with his story. And that stems from like him just kind of like flip-flopping what he says and his opinions and what he wants to happen based on what he thinks will benefit him the most. So that's kind of like what people are noticing. And I feel like for Jeffree, like, even though this may seem like the end, it doesn't necessarily have to be. I feel like if he just made like one long ass video, like an hour video, kind of like addressing the highlights of of controversies that he's been through, like with the Darby thing, with the James Charles thing, but being vulnerable enough to be very very honest and say like, okay guys, like, yes, with the James Charles thing, I did put out that tweet, and I didn't have the information that I thought I had. Not the information that I thought I had, but like I didn't have the proof. But I did it because I saw an opportunity to push myself further. Or like with the Darby thing, was like, okay, yeah, I did put out the initial tweet that Darby is a predator, but then I needed something from him, and he told me that if I were to get that thing, I had to do this, or I thought that if I wanted to work with him in the future, I had to like support him or whatever. But I feel like in all of these situations, the best thing to do is to be honest. Obviously, people who don't like Jeffree Star, like, that's gonna be ammunition for them, because finally they would have proof from the horse's mouth that like, okay, hey, this is what I did. But I feel like for his true fans, like, it wouldn't matter, and that would actually show growth, like, hey, like I did all of these things in the past. I admit that I have made some very, very shitty decisions, and I am looking forward to working towards being a good person and showing you guys that I want to be a good person. I feel like if Jeffree Star just like sat down and was like, brutally honest, like brutally honest without, glossing over anything. Like sure his followers would like dip for a bit, but like in a year or so there would be like redemption, for him. So do I really, really think that it's gonna be like this is the end of Jeffree Star? Actually probably not, because the man keeps on reinventing himself. He's a very, very smart man. He's a smart businessman. He's a business savvy person. That's probably why he does all of these things that he does. But I do think that this marks the beginning of people just kind of like paying closer attention to what he says, and whether and whether or not if like what he says actually makes sense. Before, people have been very, very quick to just kind of like gloss past everything, like, oh well, he said this about James Charles, and now he says he doesn't want to do that to James Charles, blah blah blah. But now people are actually like paying very close attention. I think his business will suffer a little bit from this. But to be honest, it's not just Jeffree Star who's in charge of his business. I'm sure he's hired some very, very, very smart people who can help him, circumvent this whole situation. So yeah, I don't think this is the definite end of Jeffree Star, or like Jeffree Star is getting canceled, because he seems like the type of person who can never get canceled. But I do feel like this is the beginning of the end for him, in the sense that people are no longer gonna take his word for like, for what it is. People are gonna like scrutinize him a little bit more. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you want to see more from me, subscribe, and also leave me a comment of what you think about this whole Jeffree Star, James Charles beauty guru influencer scene, like what's going on. Just drop me a comment and I'll be in touch. Bye my loves, and I hope to see you soon.